I never thought I would find myself in this situation. I always considered myself a woman of integrity, a devoted wife. David and I had built a life together, a tapestry woven with shared dreams, laughter, and love. Yet, it was within the confines of that life that temptation first crept in, whispering sweet promises that echoed through the chambers of my heart. It began on a mundane Tuesday night. David had been working late at the office, drowning in deadlines and corporate demands. I had taken to my usual routine, cooking dinner, tidying the house, and settling down with a book. The clock ticked past 9, then 10, and I found myself yawning, lulled into a stupor by the warmth of the blankets wrapped around me. I drifted into a restless sleep, my dreams intermingled with the faint hum of the world outside. It was during one of those hazy, dream-laden hours that I first felt him. I could hardly distinguish between the dream and reality, the lines blurring as his presence enveloped me. It was Nathan, a friend of David's, someone I had always found charming but had never considered more than a casual acquaintance. Yet there he was, a silhouette in my subconscious, whispering words I couldn't quite grasp, yet felt deeply. His touch was electric. It sent jolts of unfamiliarity through me as I stirred in my sleep. A gentle caress against my cheek pulled me from the depths of slumber. I opened my eyes slowly, adjusting to the dim light of the room. The shadows danced around me, and there stood Nathan, his dark hair tousled, his eyes burning with an intensity that made my heart race. "What are you doing here?" I asked, my voice a mere whisper, still caught between sleep and awareness. "Just checking in on you," he replied, his voice low and smooth. "David is busy, and I thought you might enjoy some company." In that moment, I felt the weight of desire hovering just out of reach, an uninvited guest at my door. The air thickened with unspoken possibilities as he moved closer, the warmth radiating from his body igniting something deep within me. "No, Nathan," I breathed, the words escaping me like a frantic plea. Yet, even as I said it, I felt an intoxicating thrill run through my veins. But he leaned closer, and suddenly I was overwhelmed with the scent of him, cologne mixed with something uniquely Nathan, something intoxicating. My heart raced, and before I could think rationally, his lips found mine, tentative at first, then fervent, igniting a fire within me that I had never felt before. Time seemed to stand still as our lips moved against each other, a rhythm that felt both familiar and foreign. My body reacted instinctively, responding to him in a way I had never imagined possible. I was drowning in the heat of the moment, lost in a sea of longing and guilt. I pushed him away, panic coursing through me. I can't do this," I stammered, clutching the blanket around me like a lifeline. Nathan's expression shifted, concern flickering in his eyes. "Laurel, I didn't mean to." But before he could finish, I sprang from the bed, my heart pounding in my chest, guilt and confusion swirling in my mind like a tempest. I rushed to the bathroom, splashing cold water on my face, trying to ground myself in reality. I couldn't believe what had just happened. It felt like a betrayal, a cruel twist of fate that I had never anticipated. David arrived home shortly thereafter, blissfully unaware of the chaos that had unfolded in his absence. He greeted me with a warm smile, his tired eyes lighting up as he wrapped his arms around me, pulling me close. I could smell his cologne, something comforting and familiar, yet it only served to remind me of the betrayal I had almost succumbed to. "How was your day?" he asked, oblivious to the storm brewing within me. "It was fine," I replied, forcing a smile, my heart aching as I battled my emotions. But the seeds of doubt had been planted, and no amount of rationalization could quell the turmoil within me. Days passed, each one heavier than the last. Nathan's presence lingered like a shadow, and the memory of our kiss haunted my waking moments. I found myself avoiding him, dodging his messages, and even deflecting conversations about David's work friends. It felt as though the walls were closing in, the weight of my desire a constant reminder of what I had almost lost. But the human heart has a way of succumbing to temptation, and I was no exception. I saw Nathan again at a company gathering, a night filled with laughter, mingling, and the allure of possibility. The atmosphere was charged, electric with unspoken tension. David was caught up in conversations, distracted by the demands of his job, leaving me free to wander, to explore the thrum of excitement that pulsed through the room. Nathan was there, his eyes searching for mine across the crowded space. I felt an undeniable pull, and despite my better judgment, I found myself gravitating toward him, like a moth drawn to a flame. "Hey," he said, a playful smile dancing on his lips. "I was hoping to see you. Can we talk?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper, but the urgency in my tone was unmistakable. We stepped outside, the cool night air a stark contrast to the heat rising between us. Under the stars, I could no longer deny the magnetism that had pulled us together. "I'm sorry for what happened," he said, his expression earnest. "I didn't mean to cross a line, but there's something between us that feels undeniable." My heart raced, every word hitting me like a drumbeat. "I shouldn't be here," I protested, my mind screaming for me to walk away, but my body yearned for the closeness he offered. "Just give me a chance to show you," Nathan said, stepping closer, his breath warm against my skin. The world around us faded away, and I found myself teetering on the edge of a precipice. The thrill of infidelity danced tantalizingly in front of me, and I was caught in a whirlwind of emotions, fear, excitement, and a deep-seated desire that I couldn't extinguish. In that moment, I made a choice. I leaned into him, surrendering to the temptation that had wrapped around my heart like a vice. Our lips collided once more, a collision of longing and regret. The kiss deepened, igniting a fire that I couldn't ignore. I was lost, drowning in a sea of passion, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, I was alive. But as we pulled apart, the reality of my choices crashed down upon me. I stood there, breathless and aching, realizing that I was caught in a web of infidelity, a prison of my own making, and I could only hope that in the end, I wouldn't lose everything that truly mattered.